Hi, welcome back everybody to Santa Fe Fashion Week's YouTube channel. If we haven't met before, I'm Stephen Cuomo, executive producer of Santa Fe Fashion Week. And I came across this really great video on YouTube. Michelle Khare produces these challenge videos, and in this episode, she wants to become a runway model, and she's 5'2", and some of the challenges she had. So let's jump right into this video.
As a girl who only shops for new clothes every 3 to 5 years, the concept of runway shows is something I've never really understood. I have lots of questions. Why is this an outfit that was modeled on a high fashion runway? Did it actually yield more sales for the designer? What is the practical purpose of a runway show if there are print ads and the internet? Also, runway shows are super exclusive in terms of their model casting. Why do models have to be tall and thin? But at the end of the day, I can't help but admit that, like lots of other girls, I've definitely fantasized about what it would be like to be a runway model, to get ready for a fashion show, and to have that moment on the catwalk.
I like to pause right here. So it's really cool. I talk about in some of my videos that fashion shows, if you will, is a celebration of fashion, and it definitely is a thrill to walk the runway and the applause that the designers get at the end of the show.
Over the past year, I've taken some steps towards that dream. Last year, I trained like a Victoria's Secret model and did a photo shoot. Also, I tested.
So I think this is a really important point too. She goes through these efforts to become, to do these different challenges, if you will. She wanted to become a Victoria's Secret model, see what that's like, and she trained for this photo shoot, got herself in really great shape.
A bit of my catwalk in the beauty pageant I did last summer. This time I'm gonna take it to the next level. It's no secret, I'm very short. I'm 5'2" tall. I actually love being short. I have no problems with being short. Extra legroom on an airplane is something I've never had to consider purchasing before. Also, I'm a great little spoon. The only issue I have is that apparently it's not good if I want to be a runway model. So for this challenge, I'm going to try and do the impossible. I, a 5'2" tall woman, I'm going to try and become a runway model for an actual runway show. So today is day one of runway preparation, and this morning I was doing a little bit of research. I read a 2017 McKinsey article that says that the fashion industry is worth $2.4 trillion. So today my goal is to understand a bit more about the industry and the history before I apply to become a runway model. Cynthia Harvey Brown is a fashion expert and designer with over 20 years of experience. She has created original designs for celebrities including Janet Jackson and Muhammad Ali. Today she's going to break down what it is I'm really getting myself into.
You have to put yourself out there as a designer, and one of the ways to do that is to produce a fashion show. It's an opportunity for the press, the industry to see your work and your wares, and oftentimes buyers will attend these shows. It also gives life to the designer's collection. They can see the colors, they can see the movement of the fabric, and although people buy online.
So she brings up a valid point. I kind of compare fashion designers, you take these emerging designers, if you will, and I kind of compare them to, let's say, indie musicians. And so as musicians, what they do, they go on tour, they press a lot of flesh, they get people to listen to their music. And fashion designers, I believe, have to do the same thing. They produce these fashion shows, or they go to these different fashion events throughout the country. Santa Fe Fashion Week is one of them. And like she says, it's a great place to showcase their work. And it takes a lot of effort on behalf of everybody, from the fashion designers to make their outfits, to the hair and makeup, to the models participating in the show.
People really need to touch and feel and see. The history of showing clothes really started back in the mid-1800s. There's a designer by the name of Charles Worth, who was the first designer to show his designs on live models. The first happened to be his wife. He was also the first designer to put his label in the garment. Before that, whether they were wealthy or poor women, they stitched by hand most of their clothes. Things have changed over the years, but that's where it started.
I always see every year these crazy cool pictures of interesting outfits, people wearing an inflatable pool.
A lot of times the designers will do that for the press. They want the attention. It's a show, it's a production, so you have to give the audience the entertainment value that they're looking for.
So I am going to try and become a runway model.
Ooh.
Yeah, Yeah. How do I even begin?
It's not easy, and you will find that it's hard for them to accept the fact that you are not tall. As a model, like an actress, you're going to get a lot of no's, but that isn't something that should stop you or prevent you from going after it.
I totally agree with the designer that when I do castings, we sometimes get hundreds of models, men and women, try out for the show, and it's hard to make that selection. And myself, I try to have some diversity in our show. And she's going to jump into some of the reasons why, as producer of the show and as a designer, why it is that we lean towards taller models. And it's interesting because I talked to a friend of mine who coaches a football team, and like he said too, with football, there's tryouts every year, and who's going to perform best at any given time in a football game. As producer of a show, who's gonna show best or present the clothing in the best possible light.
So I'm gonna be practicing today on my tippy tops, which are my shoes from the pageant. I know I need to practice a runway walk in front of strangers. This is just really embarrassing, and I wanna get this over with and go home.
You need to be able to walk in front of a bunch of people. So what better way to do that than a public park?
So I think this is pretty funny. So her boyfriend, I think they actually might be married by now, suggests that she practices her walk in public, so a lot of people can see her walk and feel comfortable walking in heels in public.
What do runway models do? They have a face, like a...
Model face.
I like her model face.
Garrett, why are we over here in the dirt?
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. And if you can walk through uneven terrain,
Oh my God.
you can walk a runway.
Now, I don't suggest you walk in on gravel or dirt in your heels, because I think that's a great way to screw up your ankles. So be careful out there.
You didn't have to climb the tree.
Garrett, you're great, but I don't think you're a good runway coach.
I have to agree with her here. I think Gary should not be doing runway coaching.
Runway models just have this extreme confidence and power about them. I want to be able to walk in a room and feel that way, because I don't most of the time right now, especially as a woman walking into meetings. I just want to feel comfortable in my confidence, because right now I feel like if I walk in a room and I'm confident, people will think, oh, Michelle has an ego about herself, or she's full of herself. I need to not care about that. And runway models seem to not care. Runway models seem to just walk out there and be really A-game. I think I need that. I really need that. If I'm gonna have any chance of getting in a runway show, I need to get my runway walk together. Savannah Wicks is a professional runway model and multiple pageant title holder. Today she's gonna kick my ass into gear and get my walk ready for the runway. We met when I did the pageant series, and you totally crushed it.
Like, thanks.
You literally won it. So specifically your walk, I was blown away by. Because that was the hardest part for me and the most frustrating part for me.
I walked for Betsy Johnson, Roberto Cavalli, some Chanel. Modeling for a runway is very much like if you were to do a play or a musical rather than a movie. With photography, you're able to have a photographer edit the photos. You have all these lights very particularly set up to make you look a certain way, and you have multiple shots. With runway modeling, you have one shot.
I think this is very interesting too. A couple of things I like to bring up. It's interesting she talks about the design she walked for, but also I wish she would have mentioned she walked for Phoenix Fashion Week, which they really do a great show. They really produce a great show. And so another point she brings up, which I think is really important, is when you're, like she mentions, when you're modeling for a photographer, they could pose you. There's typically more time to get set up the lights and whatnot. And when you're doing a runway walk, I get that the adrenaline is kicking in, and as a model, sometimes you feel like there's a hurry to get to the end of the runway, and you strike your pose, if you will, and then you rush right back. And again, the buyers, if you will, the people watching the show, it's they want to see the outfit. Like she said, you want to see a powerful, strong model. And so you get to the end of the runway, you want to make sure you give yourself time to pose. And typically there's photographers all around you. Take that moment. And I think this is really important advice.
I already feel like height challenged, and heels were the most challenging part of the pageant for me too. A lot of the comments on the pageant video were like, she was great, except what was she doing when she was walking down the runway? I feel like this is a little bit of a redemption for me from that video, which is
We got this.
just nice.
A runway walk is that fierceness. I'd love to just see your walk where it is right now.
I think this is really good to get the model's baseline. I disagree with her, the coach, a little bit, is that like acting, when I go for an audition, and I get my lines, if you will, and I kind of rehearse it one way, but then the director, if you will, the casting agent might say act a different way, act like it's funny or serious or scary, whatever that is. And for a fashion walk, you want to be prepared for changes. So yeah, sometimes you want to have that fierce walk. But sometimes you might want to have that that JCPenney look or a fun summer dress, or maybe you're modeling a bikini. So yeah, so maybe have that fierce walk, but you also want to have these other kind of walks in your arsenal, if you will.
I felt a little fear. You felt the fierceness. I was like, whoa. You felt the power. So when you make it down to the end of the runway, walking back is so epic, and turning.
Ooh,
and going.
that's
Because
enjoy me while you can. But
yeah.
I'm out.
With your arms when you're walking, brush your arm a little bit behind your butt, like here.
Oh. My favorite tip that Savannah taught me was angling the way my arms swung at my side. I looked at my walk before and after, and the difference was insane.
The touch on top would be facial expressions. I want to see you play around a little bit, giving them a little, eye movement. Nice. Yes.
I feel like I finally have a key understanding of how to do a runway walk. I think I thought before that it was just be confident and strut. And now I realize there are actual techniques to move your body differently to give that look.
You think, oh, you're just walking down a runway or it's just a normal walk, but there is a lot to it. And models put a lot of work into it. Also, I thought it was really good to, she filmed it and she was able to look at her before and after a walk. And I think that's really important to videotape yourself and also, be honest with yourself and critique your walk.
So we're about 3 months into the runway show experience. It's been a little bit tough. I have been working out and dieting a ton for this video and applying to lots of runway shows, and I actually been getting more responses than I thought I would. The conversation always moves in a really positive direction until they find out how tall I am. And then suddenly people are not interested in having me in their show. That's been a difficult thing to deal with and something I wasn't anticipating to be such a big deal.
From my research, I found out there are short models. Kim Kardashian is 5'3", Priyanka Chopra is 5'5", but they don't really classify necessarily as runway models. So what exactly is it about a runway show that requires models to be taller?
Models generally are tall and thin because there's a standard size that is used when samples are cut. All designers have to create what they call a sample collection. It's the first actual prototype of the clothes, and that sample has to be a specific size so that when that sample is sent to New York for New York Fashion Week, a model can wear that outfit, the same as a model in Paris.
That is so interesting because I always assumed that people in the fashion industry just wanted tall and thin women because that's what they thought was beautiful.
And she's absolutely right. These are models, and there's different kinds of models. I mean, there's catalog models, there's models in magazines, there's Instagram models, and then there's runway models, and there's different requirements for being a runway model. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that here in just a moment.
Do you think that designers should have a responsibility to showcase more diversity in their shows?
I think they do, and they know that. And you're starting to see a little bit more of that. You're seeing more women of color in the shows. You're even seeing women that are shorter. So I think it's just a matter of those that are persistent and not take no for an answer.
And again, I mean, not taking no for an answer, I want to become an actor and I go in for a casting and they say I'm not the right person, I'm not the right size, the right age. I can't just sit there and say I'm not going to take no for an answer. I think what Michelle does, I mean, you apply for different shows and and hopefully you get chosen. And the competition's pretty tough. And again, I compare it to becoming an actor or a musician. And I think, you know, not taking no for an answer. I mean, I don't think that's quite right.
High fashion modeling is about the clothes, and the clothes are the star. Meanwhile, in pageants, you're the star.
She's absolutely right. When you're in a pageant, you are the star. And when you're a fashion or you're a runway model, really is about the clothes. And as a fashion designer, and again, I keep comparing to the film industry. As a fashion designer, they have an image of what you know the model should look like to wear their clothing. I mean, you might have something that's more of a grunge look, or you might have something that's more high fashion or street fashion. So athletic wear, bikinis. So each one of those designers are going to really want like what they think would work best for their collection.
I went to a casting, and unfortunately, I had been working out too much, and I had gotten more muscle in my legs and my butt. Because I had those differences, I wasn't casted.
So you were too fit.
She's a little blown away that she was too fit. And again, you have fitness models, and so if a runway model competed to be a fitness model, and the person putting together the fitness competition said, "Hey, you know, you're too thin, or you're not muscular enough," you shouldn't be taken back by that. It's just that you're competing in fitness.
They said that to your face.
I've been told it on multiple occasions by multiple clients. At first, it was really hard for me to process, but I just had to cope with the fact that that is what the industry wants, and that it's not about you, it's about the clothes.
I think that's great advice.
One of our main concerns, as you know, that all the fashion shows use models that are 5'10".
Yes, I understand.
But the world is changing, you know. I was watching some of your videos this morning, and I thought, wow, this is super cool. That's what really caught my attention, and I thought maybe we can make it happen. What do you think about it?
Oh my God! This is the coolest thing ever!
You will be the shortest model on my runway.
Thank you so much, Connie. This is amazing.
Of course. Okay, we talk soon.
Bye. What? Oh my God. I'm walking in a runway show, and I'm gonna be the shortest person.
So she gets some really great news here. You know, she's been making a phone call. She's been submitting her photos to these different fashion shows, if you will. And even with Santa Fe Fashion Week, I mean, we work with a lot of local models, but we do have models that submit from out of state to be in our show. So she got some really great news here, and I'm really happy for her.
The runway show is canceled. They couldn't get the funding to make it happen. So my videos, it's usually pretty much like a review of the activity. It's never like, will this video actually get done? You know what I mean? I don't even know what to do.
We can't have a runway video
without a.
So I think this is really interesting and kind of sad in a way too, is the producer of this fashion show had to cancel the show because they didn't get the funding. And what that really means in producer talk is we don't get funding, if you will, we get sponsors. And so you have to get sponsors. And then typically with the regional fashion weeks, if you will, it's a co-op. We don't have the budget of a Tom Ford or a Michael Kors. And so what us local producers do, it's really a co-op. All designers kick in a certain amount of money that covers the cost of the venue, if you will, and the DJ and the other things that go into producing a show, advertising and whatnot. And if those things don't come together, and also corporate sponsors, so if those things don't come together, it's not viable to put together a show, and it's a huge disappointment for everyone concerned.
When I started working for Michelle a little while ago, she was so determined to do a challenge accepted video where she was going to be a runway model and walk a fashion show. She got turned down so many times that I think she kind of gave up the idea that she was ever going to be able to walk a runway. So the other day I saw that one of my best friends, who is a Norwegian designer, she announced that she's going to show her new collection at London Fashion Week in February. So for the last couple of days I have been working with her, and Michelle is going to walk a show at London Fashion Week in February.
So Anakin just called me to tell me that Michelle will be walking London Fashion Week. We will be surprising Michelle with a video telling her the news. Michelle, I am so proud of you for everything you've accomplished. I know how long you've been working on this video. I know how important this video is, not just for you, but for all the women out there that it could affect. It's happening. It's finally happening. And I'm so honored to be doing it right here with you.
What is going on, you? Hi Michelle, my name is Pernille Fristad and I am the founder and designer of Kipasa. I am so excited to tell you that you are going to walk in the Kipasa fashion show at Fashion Finest London Fashion Week. We are so excited to have you and see you in London. What? Bye!
That's... You told... What? Oh, boy, this video is dead.
We're going to London for London Fashion Week.
So this is really, really great news. I mean, she's got to get to walk at London Fashion Week. But also, they don't really touch upon this, but it really is, at the end of the day, or sometimes at the end of the day, it's who you know. And so Michelle's built these really great relationships. Her friend here is looking out for her. She runs across a designer, and she makes that connection. So yes, oftentimes you're submitting for these different fashion shows, and then and they're the cold reads, if you will, and then sometimes through networking or relationships, a door opens for you. And is that fair? I don't know. Michelle gets a leg in. Maybe someone else who is the same height as Michelle wants to get in the show, but she doesn't really know anybody. So you make your own decision.
I am Pernille Fristad. In 2012, I started Kipasa. Our design is always playful, strong, and feminine. I love colors, so I always try to bring colors into the collections. When Anakin came to me and asked, I was really excited, and I thought Michelle would fit Kipasa really well. We love diversity, so we try to incorporate that in our models and then different sizes. So we have the biggest size range of all the playful brands. It's always been important to me to show different sizes because I've been bigger and felt a bit shamed about that. And I want to show the ones wearing my clothes that you don't have to be one size, just be you.
I really like this outfit, so it makes me feel very confident. The shoes are the part that stressed me out.
Okay! The hardest part might be walking in high heels and then just having the confidence to take the room and owning the outfit. But I think Michelle loves the outfit, so it's gonna be a walk in the park for her.
Today we're going around London, getting some pictures at some of the key...
See, I think that, again, this is really great. Again, at Santa Fe Fashion Week, we have models of all different heights and ethnicities, if you will. And so this is really cool that Michelle gets this opportunity.
It's the night before the fashion show! I can't believe it. I'm walking in London Fashion Week. I've been sitting here getting everything ready for tomorrow, and something hit me at the beginning of this challenge, like 9 months ago now, I guess. I got a trainer. I was on a really strict diet. I was working out sometimes multiple times a day to try and get that runway model body and to experience what it's like to be a runway model. When I just kept getting rejected from everything and initially gave up on this video idea, I stopped doing that because I thought the video was dead. And then I'm suddenly in a really big and exciting fashion show, and I didn't really have time to diet or exercise or try to sculpt my body into a runway model's body in such a short amount of time. But for some reason, I'm here the night before the show and I don't really care. I am really at peace with my body and the way it is right now. And I think that's why ultimately, when we're editing this video, I'm not gonna include any of the training or the diet. I have this newfound confidence and I'm just gonna kind of ride that tomorrow if I'm able to walk a runway in high heels with hundreds of people staring at me and cameras pointed at me and just own my confidence, then I'm gonna see that as the success to this video.
I'm really glad Michelle had this breakthrough moment. At the beginning of the video, she said she was having some challenges with the confidence, and it's funny because when you watch these videos of her, you think she has plenty of confidence. So I'm really happy for her, and let's see how the show goes.
It is the day of the fashion show! Woo! We are walking over to the venue now.
already gotten so busy in here. I always know when a model has walked in the room because they are very, very tall.
I really love this part, and I've discussed this in other videos about the behind the scenes and wanting to bring this concept to shows around the country, Fashion Behind the Curtain, bringing this back. You know, when you're watching the show as an audience member, if you will, you had no idea that this stuff is going on behind the scenes, and in some ways it's
And you've
pretty
been
exciting.
modeling for a year?
About a year, yeah. So I've done a few shows, a few like shoots and things.
So do you feel like really comfortable on a runway?
I still always get butterflies though, I think. Even beforehand you get like the stage butterflies. But that's good, because it means you're like ready to go.
I still can't believe that I'm here, you know? Because I was just rejected from so many because I was so short, and now I'm like, do they know how short I am? I don't know.
No, you're not the shortest. How tall are you?
5'2".
5'2". Okay.
My name's Deborah and I'm the CEO of Fashion's Finest. We've been hosting shows for emerging designers in London for 10 years. Michelle is the shortest person that we've ever had. We've never had anybody beyond probably 5'6".
Got singled out because apparently my walk isn't good enough. That's great.
This arm is a little tiny bit stiff.
Oh, really? Okay.
But yeah, because you're a little bit shorter as well, you really need to hold yourself, make the most of your stature. So when the other girls are sort of 6 foot in heels, then it stands out, which is fine. But you know, you can still bring the power.
I know it can feel awkward being singled out, but it's good that they're taking the extra time to make sure that Michelle's walk is dialed in.
Usually when you're a professional model hired by a fashion show, on the day of the show, you're brought into a pool of models and handpicked by designers to model for a variety of different shows.
Sitting here, chilling out, and this guy comes over and is like, "You look like the right size, let's go." And I was like, what?
I already knew I was only going to walk for Capaza, and I wasn't really supposed to be included in that pool of models.
They're at my hotel. I can go get them if you
Yeah, I need, because the suicide hat is not going there. Let's try this.
Now I'm a little bit nervous. I just got pulled into a third Runway show. I have no idea what I'm wearing, but I like it.
They were saying she's just being picked up by everyone now.
So I just went for a third designer, and I was actually really excited about it because I love the clothes and the colors, but I was too short. Kind of weird being just like exchanged out with another person, but still cool to be considered. I don't think it makes it right, but I understand why all models have to be the same size.
I think this is a really important point. A lot of the models don't realize, like in Santa Fe Fashion Week, we do these open calls and we narrow it down to X amount of models. But the designers, most of them are from out of state, and this is the first time during these fittings that they're meeting the models face to face and getting a real sense of the models they're going to be working with. And sometimes models are a little hurt because, you know, some models get picked more than others, and it's more often because of their size or a certain look that the designers are looking for. And I could understand feeling a little hurt when, you know, somebody grabs you and tries to put you into an outfit and it just doesn't work, and they look for another model. And I'm sure you get a little bit of a spike of adrenaline because, hey, I got chosen and now you're not chosen. But again, this is happening in real time, and this is what goes on behind the scenes.
Person that compete with a bionic leg.
I'm going to be the shortest model ever to walk.
The shortest?
Yes, I'm really nervous. I haven't done this before.
Sorry, I don't have a leg, so you don't have to worry. It's 2 minutes that you have to walk and then.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
So.
It's not going to be that bad.
I've been saying this all week, but honestly, I'm just plain excited. I've thought to myself, why am I not more nervous? I tripped at the beauty pageant. What could happen here? Something that all of these challenges in this series in particular has taught me is confidence. A year ago, if I had done this challenge, I would have been a complete nervous wreck this entire week. And at this point, I have been pushed through and over my fears time and time again, that it's honestly where I feel comfortable now. I have the choice of, should I be really nervous about only having 30 seconds to make it look amazing and I have to be perfect and whatever, or I can choose to just have fun. Finally, I'm able to do a challenge in this series where I can just enjoy it.
It's been quite a day here at London Fashion Week. People coming in their droves to look at fashion here. Bloggers, models, photographers, crucially though, buyers. And at the end of the day, there's a lot at stake here.
For the past 9 months, so many people told me, you're not allowed to be a runway model. Anyone should be able to walk a runway.
Here she is. Now, I was looking at some of the comments on Michelle's feed from this show, and some people mentioned that she smiled at the end of the runway. And I don't know if that was a nervous smile or a pageant smile. But again, when you're on the runway, you really need to be in character, and that could be a little awkward, you know, because the photographers are taking photos. So, you know, it's her first time walking the runway. I think we should cut her a little slack.
I blacked out. That was so fun and terrifying. I loved it. I can't wait. We get to go in again.
I'm really proud to say that I'm the shortest model to ever walk fashion's finest at London Fashion Week. This experience taught me a lot about confidence, owning my power, and being proud of who I am. I strongly encourage other designers to be more open to the idea of including more models of all shapes, sizes, and colors in their shows. If medium to smaller size brands like Capaza are able to be inclusive in this capacity, there is no excuse for larger brands to not do the same.
Nice job, Michelle. I think you bring up a lot of great points during this video, and you're always welcome to walk at Santa Fe Fashion Week.